Hello, everyone. I hope you are able to see our screen right now. And I hope you are live. You can type on the chat box there whether, if you can see the screen as in hey or something there. So, welcome to our first CISO Talk series from Strobes right now. And this series is meant to bring together a lot of cybersecurity leaders across the globe so that we have lots of thought leadership strategies out there and lots of knowledge based, like all of those series stuff. So before we start in, I would like to thank you all to join us today for this amazing session with our two amazing speakers today. And today we will be discussing about PTaaS, which is Pentesting as a Service. But then whether it is a new buzzword or is it something like a must need for all the companies out there. So we will be covering all of those things in today's session. And before we dive into the details of it, I would like to introduce you all to our speakers here today. So, first off, Mathew here. And Mathew is the CISO of Satcom Direct right now, and he brings in over 2 decades of experience across industries, which I mean that he has actually seen the whole paradigm shift towards the whole cloud based solutions and agile development solutions in the market. And along with him, we have Venu Rao here, who is the CEO and co founder of Strobes Security. And he has been an amazing leader in the offensive security for over a decade now. And he specializes especially in threat exposure management solutions. So I think we can start off with the series right now. And I hope you all enjoy the series. Over to you, Venu.
Thanks, Aliba. Thanks for the warm welcome. Appreciate it. Hi, Mathew. Good to see you here. Thank you so much for joining for our first CISO sessions. Appreciate your time. Right. So here, before I get into the webinar, I wanted to share about what is that we're going to talk about, what is in store for you all who have joined this. So pen testing is nothing new. I'm sure most of them are aware of what pen testing is all about. So here we would like to talk about the evolution of pen testing from a traditional one to PTaaS, and how actually it is helping customers in cutting down their costs, improving the deliverable rates, and most importantly, at the end, we will cover about the continuous threat exposure management and the journey from PTaaS to CTEM. So this is all we're gonna talk about in the next 30, 45 minutes, and I'm sure it will be super exciting and most importantly, good learning thing for all of us. So before I move forward on pen testing activity, so we all know that pen testing falls under the offensive security umbrella, right? Offensive security is nothing but proactively testing the defenses of any organization, right? So in cybersecurity, ideally, we divide between defensive and offensive. So defensive is like the XDRs, the MDRs, the SIM sorts of the world. And in offensive, there are a lot of other things. But based on the research reports by the analysts, it is said that more than 65% of the company's budgets goes to defensive. And in fact, with the current way that threat exposure has exposed, when I say threat exposure, we see the kind of digital assets today. 50 years back then, probably we had only network assets in place on few applications. But today, we have APIs, we have cloud instances, we have containers. So there are so many things that are exposed to internet and ready to be attacked. Still, Matthew, this question to you. Do you think that spending 65% of the budgets on defensive and probably giving a little lower weightage to offensive, is it a good strategy for the CISOs or the cybersecurity leaders? Or how confident are you with the effectiveness of these defensive technologies?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to participate in this conversation today. I think the answer kind of depends. So, for example, one, does the company have security capabilities that cover the basics? So when we talk about identity, right, MFA, EDR systems, email security, firewall security, content filtering, these are things that are table stakes nowadays, right? outside of the basics, what does that attack surface look like? And what are the security capabilities to address those gaps or not, right? The third thing too that we need to kind of look at is in order to kind of measure effectiveness, we need visibility, right? We need data so we
Right.
can establish key performance indicators and key risk indicators, right? Because when you do this, the byproduct of that is that enables a company to see effectiveness over time, right? It allows the organization to see trending and conduct gap analysis. And most importantly, from those, it allows a organization to better understand and forecast future security spending on those toolings, right? On those processes and things like pen testing that we're talking today. And then the last thing that kind of helps an organization understand is when people like myself get asked, are we secure, or how secure are we, right? So I think overall, there's a number of different components and things that unfortunately make that a complicated answer, right?
I do get it, Matthew. It's a tough question, but yeah, I mean, as I said, different threat landscape, different technologies, and different strategies needs to be adopted. There is no one secret formula. Obviously, it's always like kind of an A/B testing that we need to do to ensure we come up with the right strategy. Yeah, thanks for that. All right. So before I move forward on the pen testing thing, Aliba, can we go ahead with the first poll, please? Great, thanks. So we're just conducting a few polls, probably 3 or 4 polls, to understand how often we do pen testing. That actually helps us also. And most importantly, we're going to share some interesting artifact at the end of this session because, we have done some great research around threat exposure landscape and, some other interesting facts on 2023 pen testing stuff, how the industry shaped, what kind of top vulnerabilities being identified. And, if you're there till the end of this webinar, probably you will get those documents along with that, probably a sample pen test report. So make sure that, you stay there till the end of the session. So are we done with the poll?
Yes. So you can see the results here as well. So
okay, that's good. 43% annually. Good to know. All right, so I'll move forward. Yeah. Now, first, let's understand the what's pen testing all about, and how the traditional pen testing is performed. So, as I said, pen testing is nothing new. It's like probably 5 decades ago. The pen testing kicked off, and ideally back then it was more of network pen testing, because more of in network and infrastructure was there. But today we all know the kind of different digital assets that we are living today. So the approach and the way to do pen testing has evolved drastically. So ideally, in a traditional pen testing, apart from identifying your pen test vendor, how it happens is spend a lot of time in defining the scope. Once you define the scope, and then the pen testing vendor waits for the test accounts to perform the pen testing, especially from an application standpoint, and then for an internal pen testing, again, they wait for the VPN access or some of the other way to get access to the internal networks to do the pen testing. So ideally, the traditional pen testing, the entire exercise of doing or conducting a pen testing will be in months, if not weeks. The reason being is that, as I said, scoping, getting the test accounts, performing those manual penetration testing, which takes weeks of time, and the client have to wait for a couple of months to get the first draft of pen test report. And then they start prioritizing the vulnerabilities, fixing the vulnerabilities. They have some issues in fixing, they reach out via emails and stuff. So it's pretty much time consuming, a lot of inflexibility around doing these kind of activities. And most importantly, why pen testing is being conducted. Either it is for a compliance purpose like ISO 27001, HIPAA, or PCI DSS, or probably submit the reports to the board, or probably, if you're a B2B SaaS company, your end customer is asking for the latest pen test report. So everything is linked to some of the other important decisions. And because of the traditional practices, the entire engagement is taking a lot of time, which eventually means higher costs. So that is a problem with the traditional pen testing. What do you think, Mathew? Is there anything that I missed out in the traditional pen testing practices based on your experience?
No, I think you really highlight some of the fundamental challenges with how we've kind of approached it as an industry. To your point, I know where I'm at currently in previous places where I've worked, it's a very labor-intensive process, right? In order to conduct pen testing, whether it's networking or application or whatever, and ultimately, I think one of the main issues is the lack of is that manual process, right? The
Yeah,
configuration and having to um, for setting up the pen test, having to communicate with the pen testing firm and getting credentials and just all the back and forth it takes just to get things set up. And then once
right.
it's done, or once it's being conducted, and then once it's done, generally, to your point, what happens is we get a PDF report and then we have to do something with it, right? And so, again, which from a practicality standpoint, we have to enter those findings or those particular risks that come out of that report into some type of ticketing system or development system, right, to get addressed. And
Right.
that's just a lot of cost, right? A lot of manual work that needs to be done.
Absolutely, absolutely. We've been doing this from like past 8 years, and we understand these challenges. So that's the reason probably PTaaS has evolved. And I think one of the biggest paradigm shift in the pen testing over the last 50 years, or the innovation that happened in pen testing industry, is the PTaaS, which is known as pen test as a service. Well, it's as it says, pen test as a service. So it's a service, but the way it is delivered, the way the operations is taken care of, and the way the communication is happening is entirely changed, and thanks to the concept of PTaaS. So basically, Pentest as a service is nothing but providing the SaaSified experience, like SaaS-based experience to the customers in conducting these pen testing or any other offensive security services, delivering it through the platform and ensuring that customer is fully aware of the progress of the pen testing, and then having complete visibility and control over the vulnerabilities that are being identified, and so on and so forth. So what is pen testing? Is a platform-driven pen testing activities wherein customers can create an account on a SaaS platform, add their assets that needs to be pen tested. That could be, again, the beauty of the pen testing is that you can import the CSVs of all your assets that you have, or integrate with the likes of ServiceNow or the CMDB or any asset management tools, so that PTaaS platform can pull all the data and populates. And then you can schedule your pen testing activity for a year long. No, you need not get all your assets pen tested at one go. So you can schedule based on the bandwidth, based on the need of compliance, and so on and so forth. And another important thing is on-demand and flexible pen testing. So when I say on-demand or flexible, so again, I'm sure Mathew agrees to this point that there is a new development or new APIs have been developed, and they want an on-demand pen testing of those few APIs because that fall under the purview of the compliance. So that can be done at ease with the help of this particular platform. And most importantly, real-time collaboration. Like Mathew said, that they get a PDF and they need to update everything into the ticketing platforms like Jira or ServiceNow. But with the PTaaS platform, there is a real-time collaboration between the security team and the patch management or the developers or whoever is responsible for fixing, ensuring that the fixing happens on time and they get the right support at the right time to ensure that fixing are being done thoroughly. And another thing is that revalidation. So it's not just about fixing. You need to revalidate it, ensuring that the fixes have been done thoroughly, right? So Matthew, again, to you, that PTaaS is a buzzword over the last 4 or 5 years that I can see, and I know, as per my understanding, there are a handful of companies have adopted this culture or the practice of PTaaS. But do you think on the other side of the table, like the CISOs and the security leaders, are they fully aware of what PTaaS is, and in your community that you network with, you talk to, they know the power of PTaaS, how easy it make their life easy. I mean, like how easy it is for them to adopt any PTaaS, and what are the benefits or advantages of PTaaS?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's starting to become be discussed more now, especially with vendors and companies as yourself with Strobes. I think one of the challenges with any kind of pen testing engagement, the scars and the things that we talked about previously about all the manual effort that goes into it and what to test and when to test it. And under limited budgets, resources and time, I think, those are all things that factor into just pen testing in general. And I think, the pen testing as a service is a great way to show value to people like myself and to other security practitioners that these types of platforms actually help, right, in alleviating those pain points around the things we talked about, the manual processes and things like that.
That's good. So good to know that if the security leaders and CISOs are aware of PTaaS and the advantages of the PTaaS, that definitely helps.
Yeah.
Because we are trying from our side to educate most of our team members. When we launched PTaaS, from a traditional pen testing to a PTaaS, we had to educate right from the user level, like the security folks or the developers or the patch management team. We had to educate them how to use this platform, and now we see tremendous results, and the clients are very happy because of the how agile the framework or the platform is, the support they're getting in real time, and they're able to achieve their compliance goals. That's the most important thing, as you know.
Yeah, I'd really emphasize, right? Like as people in my role, we don't have endless money, we don't have endless resources, and we don't have endless time. And so any tool like PTaaS that minimizes that type of investment and is and maximizes efficiencies, right? In those areas are definitely things that are going to get our attention.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now that we have learned about what PTaaS is, now let's deep dive into the benefits of the PTaaS. Okay. So as I said, the PTaaS is a SaaS platform, a SaaS platform where customers can onboard their assets, create their year-long engagements, and then they can define when they want these reports to be delivered, and full transparency around who are the security experts that are working on that particular applications or network. So the benefits of having this kind of a platform is, one, most importantly, that I believe more than cost effectiveness, of course, that's important, is the scalability and convenience. Because when I say scalability, be it a mid-sized company to a large enterprise company, for everyone, pen testing is mandatory. At least yearly once they get this pen testing activity to be done to adhere to different compliances and framework. But now imagine as the company size grows, and the kind of pen testing needs that they have, especially in a dynamic environment. Like we work with customers who have about 500 plus applications, 10,000 plus IPs. Now imagine if you're doing a pen testing, one-time pen testing on such kind of asset, it's itself going to take 1 year time to complete it. Now, with the help of PTaaS, when you onboard all those assets onto the place, you can configure like, I need these crown jewels to be pen tested now, and I need the other assets to be pen tested at a later part of the year. based on my compliance needs or based on my security culture. So scalability and convenience is one of the key factors or the benefits of pen testing as a service platform. And then is cost effectiveness. Obviously, like I said, because the operational time has reduced by over 35%, obviously that translates to the reduction in the cost in performing a pen test. So again, to not too much burden on the CISOs or the CFO from a pen testing activity. In fact, it motivates them to conduct more regular pen testing activities, unlike in a traditional method. So I'll give you one more example here. I think I was talking about one of our customer. They have about 500 applications, out of which probably 20% of the applications are crown jewels, and the rest of the applications are like any of the regular assets or trivial assets. Now, just focus on those 20% crown jewels that carry probably PII data or transactional data, having integrations with payment gateways. Now, those crown jewels need to be tested very regularly or frequently whenever there are changes. Now, if you imagine that needs to be done at a scale of like 100 applications, needs to be done every quarter in a traditional method, how difficult it would have been. Now, this is where our ad hoc and recurring benefits will come into picture. Right. So these 100 applications out of 500 applications, you want to get it done, pen tested in a recurring manner, like probably quarterly once. Now, platform helps you to scale that and define that these 100 applications need to be pen tested every quarter. Now, you can see the trends that, okay, on Q1, I have done the testing on these 100 applications. There are X number of vulnerabilities. Q2, is it X plus or X minus? In that way, you will understand the trends of the vulnerabilities, especially on crown jewels. Now, what's the learning with those trends? Now, if there are some common vulnerabilities that you see from Q1 to Q2, that means that there is something wrong in the development side. That when I say development side, I'm not pointing fingers on developers, but we all use open source technologies. We all use technologies like Python, Java, and so on and so forth. But the value that PTaaS brings to the table, especially, is that when they know the trend of vulnerabilities, that they are getting a lot of XSS or IDORs or CSRFs and stuff, they can go back to the drawing board, understand that, hey, these are the common vulnerabilities. How do I address so that in Q3, I won't repeat the same vulnerabilities? So these things you can't get or expect in any traditional pen testing activity. Because when you see the data, when you see the quality of vulnerabilities, when you see the repeated vulnerabilities, that's where it helps the developers, the DevOps, everybody to have an understanding that where they are going wrong. What do I need to do to ensure that I won't repeat similar kind of mistakes in my development practices and so on and so forth. So scalability, cutting down on resources, cutting down on costs, everything is on one side, but improving your code quality, ensuring that ensuring that the number of repeated vulnerabilities are reduced. All these things are, I feel that more beneficial than anything else. What do you think, Mathew? Any other points that you believe, or anything that you want to challenge on the points that I said?
Yeah, no, I think the need is there, and depending on what type of industry your company is in, right? Whether it's something that's highly regulated like financial services or government, I think tools and platforms, PTaaS type platforms definitely provide that scalability and that accessibility, right? Because really it's the commoditization, right, of pen testing. And on the other side, even if you're not in a highly regulated industry or a business, those of us who are in in technology, right, or work for technology-based companies are constantly innovating, especially, you see the proliferation, right, in the last 18 months or so of AI, where those types of technologies are rapidly expanding a company's technology footprint, right? The rapid development processes and DevOps and things like that, and APIs, right? Those innovations, those core key tasks and activities that technology practitioners are doing really are a really good use case, right? And really provide solutions such as pen testing as a service. You know, a really good, I don't want to say marriage, but really good opportunity, right, for those companies to get ahead and stay ahead with their development.
Absolutely, absolutely. So again, another thing, this is what we talk to our customers as well, Matthew. Like, do you really think there is a need for on-demand and continuous pen testing? Will that help in improving the security posture of any company? What do you think? Or is just that annually once is sufficient? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Part of it is it's a depends answer, kind of to my former point, like if you're in an organization that's highly regulated or is under PCI, or things of that nature, that on demand or that scheduled cadence is necessary, right? But you may be in a company that maybe doesn't even develop software, but has certain obligations, whether regulatory or customer, that you conduct some type of penetration test annually. Even in those instances, I think the platform as a service, right, really again brings the cost down, the accessibility, increases accessibility for organizations to be able to do these things. And then, like I said previously as well, if you are part of an organization that is constantly innovating, the on-demand nature of platforms and pen testing as a service is an incredible advantage, right, to those companies, especially when it comes to going to market for a particular product or service that they're creating.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we get similar kind of answers from our customers when we talk about this on-demand and pen testing, continuous pen testing, especially, they are in the fintech space, financials or health tech, like HIPAA, all these regulated frameworks or regulated industries. That's where we see a lot of demand in this kind of continuous pen testing. And you absolutely said same. Great. And now, we got to know what is PTaaS and now the advantages of it. Let's get into, how PTaaS actually works, right? And I want to emphasize more on how Strobes PTaaS works, how we are doing these kind of PTaaS activity, right? So first and the foremost is asset inventory and scoping. As I said, traditional method, you get an email from the client saying that, hey, I have these applications or these IP ranges and so on and so forth, and to do the pen testing. But now, with the help of the platform, asset inventory and scoping is done at ease. You either connect your asset inventory or asset management tools, or you already have some CSVs or PDF format. You just import it, and you get the entire data onto the Strobes PTaaS platform, and then create engagements, by saying that whether you want looking at an year-long pen testing or ad hoc pen testing or whatever pen testing that you're looking at. Now, the crux of Strobes PTaaS is all about the hybrid pen testing. Now, keeping aside, the platform, the communication, the ease of exporting reports and stuff. So that is on the one side, but on the other side is still the key is the quality of pen testing. Right here, I would like to take a couple of minutes and explain about our hybrid pen testing approach and how we are, our approach towards pen testing and why customers have been with us for over 3+ years. The reason is because of the framework that we have built internally and which we call as a hybrid pen testing approach. So in a traditional scenario, any of the pen testing shops, when it comes to pen testing activity, they run a couple of vulnerability scanners, get the reports from these scanners, remove false positives, and probably do a high-level pen testing from their security experts and submit the report. We believe that that is not doing the justice to the clients because they are banking on us to do a thorough pen testing. But if we can't do the end-to-end pen testing, then it's not the value that we are bringing to the table. So that's the reason we thought that we come up with a hybrid pen testing approach, which is nothing but a combination of automation and human expertise. So first thing is that we see out in the market, Well, I would like to say that 100% automation in pen testing is a myth. And for a couple of reasons. One is that the length and breadth of the entire pen testing can't be covered in automation. Number two, compliance and regulatory bodies won't accept the report of automated pen testing. So to balance between the both of the kind of vulnerability scanners out there and the automated pen testing, this is where we brought the intelligence together and thought we'll come up with a hybrid pen testing, which is the ratios of 80-20 or 70-30 based on what the applications or the asset is all about. So what we do here is that we have come up with some amazing scripts that we have built over a period of time that actually automates a lot of pen testing activity, finding out vulnerabilities that fall under the OWASP top 10. So we have these scripts based on industries and verticals. Like for example, it's an e-commerce company, so we know what scripts to be run to ensure that we get the right set of vulnerabilities. Or if it is a fintech company or a payment gateway or a hospital or a healthcare. So we exactly understand the scope thoroughly, which industry and vertical. Based on that, we come up with those test cases, and probably about 70 to 80%, we already have those scripts in place. So we use it to ensure that we expedite the pen testing and find the results as quick as possible. But then there are some business logic vulnerabilities which can't be identified through this kind of automation. That's where our certified experts, OSCP certified, CREST certified experts that come into picture, and they perform this manual pen testing to find out those business logic vulnerabilities which are missed out by any scanner or any scripts as such. So we bring a blend of both human intelligence as well as automation as a hybrid framework of pen testing, providing the right results, which not only covers the 100% coverage of the asset, but also we perform all the test cases that are required and ensure that we provide the right results. So that quality of pen testing is the reason why most of our customers, I think, we have less than 3% churn rate today. And the reason being is the quality of pen testing and the approach that we have. So that's where, I'm really proud of my team, the work that they have done. Right. Now, continuing. So asset inventory and hybrid pen testing. Most importantly, the advantages of PTaaS, like I said, real-time alerts. So the customer need not wait for about 3-4 weeks to get the first draft of pen test report. So if we run some scripts today, and if there are some cool vulnerabilities, it's automatically uploaded into the SaaS platform. Our customers get alert, and then they can work on those vulnerabilities in real time. Then we do an exploitation, post-exploitation, all those activities which are pretty much common in place. And that another important aspect is about reporting and analytics in place. Right. Reporting as in, the customer has the liberty to export report at any given point of time and whatever report that they would like to have. So we have like tons of templates out there in the platform. So if the customer is looking at a technical report wherein all the vulnerabilities with complete information, a detailed explanation about what the vulnerability is all about, its title, what is the score, mitigation steps, and the proof of concept, everything is like, beautifully designed in a report, and they can export it. Then you can export what do you call an executive report, a snapshot that you would like to share it with the product owners or the leaders. So like that, there are multiple templates that we have in place. And then finally, analytics. Analytics is nothing but, we quantify the cyber risk based on the vulnerabilities and the asset context. And we tell them that, hey, the security risk index is really high because of these vulnerabilities on your crown jewels that are public facing. And we also help them in addressing those high risk vulnerabilities on top priority. We integrate with Jira so that, in real time, the customer need not logs on to, the Strobes website or Strobes platform to know the vulnerabilities, but rather than, we integrate with Jira and ServiceNow so that the respective folks can get in real time all the alerts of the vulnerabilities and they can fix it. So we have two-way sync with Jira and ServiceNow. Once they fix and change the status, automatically it's updated into the Strobes platform and we get to know, and then, we do revalidation and stuff. So the entire engagement, right from, asset inventory, that means, scoping till the reports and analytics, everything happens through the platform. And as I said, this helps in reducing the operational time by over 35%. And most importantly, the hybrid pen testing approach that we have built over a period of time is helping in finding those business logic vulnerabilities missed out by a lot of other companies. Now, again, over to you, Matthew. So I know that compliance is one of the driving factors for companies to go for pen testing activities, right? So what do you think, apart from the compliance, are there any other motivation factors or driving factors for the CISOs or the leadership team to take a call that, they should get the pen testing done or any security assessments?
Yeah, I think there's a couple different potential drivers there, especially, in the last few years as ransomware and some other types of things have started to become kind of commonplace conversation topics, right? And companies, I think more and more companies are wanting to make sure that they have organizational resilience, right? Companies are in the business of making money, and things that threaten that revenue, like the cyber incidents through, whether it's, phishing email or somebody, exploiting a vulnerability in a product or thing, or something along that line, can be a driving factor, right? In why a company would want to do pen testing. I think the second probably main reason or a reason is quality, right? So if you're a
Yeah.
software company or you manufacture any kind of technology these days, or technology products addressing the security aspects of those products is really becoming table stakes, right? If you're going to be selling something to somebody, the consumer or the person who's buying that wants to make sure that their usage of that product or platform meets at least kind of the bare minimum, right? In terms of the security of their data. So I think, from a quality perspective, it's really, I think really can drive that. I know, with us at Satcom Direct, this is, one of the things and reasons why we do it. We have, those compliance requirements, but like I mentioned, we want to make sure that we have some organizational resiliency, and we also want to make sure that the products and services that we're putting out to market are of good quality, and security is just another aspect of that quality issue.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. Athav. Apart from compliances, there are other driving factors. That's really nice to know that. Then let's talk about how PTaaS strengthens your security posture. But before that, Aliba, is it time for our second poll?
Yes, absolutely. I'll just share it in my screen right now. I'll let you guys.
Here you go.
Yes. Just let's take a minute so you guys can take a breather as well.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll end the poll here right now. Anyone else who wants to, go for the vote, you can vote soon. Yes, you can go ahead,
All right. Thanks, Aliba. Thank you all for participating in the poll. Coming back, how PTaaS strengthens the security posture. I think we've been talking about these important things from the beginning of this webinar, but still it's self-explanatory. I would like to emphasize how we actually strengthen the security posture from a Strobes standpoint is, as I said, I talked a lot about our hybrid framework. Obviously, that is one of the key factors of any pen testing activity. The purpose of pen testing itself is to find out all the loopholes or vulnerabilities that are there in the digital assets, be it applications, network, or cloud. That needs to be there, because if you fix those vulnerabilities, more than 50% of your security posture is intact, right? And this needs to be, why we always push our customers for a continuous thing is because the environment is so dynamic, not just from an application standpoint. We understand that, thanks to DevOps, the way the release cycles have, increased. Like, prior to that, it takes about weeks or months for a new release, but now every day we see new releases, right? So those kind of changes. And then cloud, thanks to the cloud, evolution of cloud, or the way cloud adoption we have seen. Now we're talking about hybrid cloud, multi-cloud, and all those things. So again, you're exposing too much of your data or information to the internet, right? So you need to do pen testing has to be a regular practice, a continuous engagement, to ensure that you are securing your digital assets, especially your crown jewels, to ensure that all those checkboxes are met. So PTaaS definitely strengthens your security posture in multiple ways. Now, so Mathew, what do you think, apart from pen testing, what are the offensive security assessments, ideally that customers would be looking at to conduct? Apart from pen testing, what are the other activities do you think fall under the offensive security purview and needs to be done or being conducted from your side?
Yeah, I think there's probably a variety of them. Red team and purple team, blue team type of exercises, right? That kind of take pen testing to the next level. Those can be beneficial, but again, the limiting factor there is kind of the triad of time, cost, and resources, and probably more time and resources than necessarily cost. But again, it depends on your organization.
Right.
I think, tools like, that give us an idea and visibility into the attack surface. So attack surface management type tools or posture management tools, I think, although maybe not be always characterized as offensive tools, they do provide visibility and data into what a threat actor sees or could see, right, or could exploit. So I think those types of things definitely have value, right? What does our company look like from the outside, right?
Yeah.
Beyond just vulnerabilities, sometimes, right?
Absolutely. I'm like breach attack simulations, these attack surface management, and all those things are definitely a part of the offensive security assessments. And, we also recommend our customers at least, this red teaming activity to be done once a year, if not frequently. That gives a different perspective altogether.
Yeah.
All right. So here, we have learned everything about PTaaS, how it works, the advantages of it. Let's talk about a couple of case studies here. So one of our customer, they are SaaS-based company with over $100 million of ARR in revenue. So we help them in reducing their compliance by time, over 66%. Now, time is money, especially when it comes to SaaS companies. They are liable, they are responsible in B2B space, as you know. And we were able to achieve this because of these reasons. One is asset inventory integrations with AWS. Two-way integrations with Jira, that was I was talking about. As soon as we identify the vulnerabilities in real time, we push it to Jira so that the team can fix it. We get a notification, we revalidate it. So everything is happening in real time. Now, if they have challenges in fixing the vulnerabilities, we have Slack, enabled for them so that they can chat directly with our team and get the support in fixing those vulnerabilities. And I was talking about reports. We have different report formats. So compliance-based reports is something we do have on our platform. So all you need to select, which compliance that you're looking forward to, like PCI, HIPAA, or so, and you get those report in that particular template. You can just directly give it to the auditor. So with all these things that are there in Strobes PTaaS, that has helped our customer in reducing their time to get their compliance done. That is just one example. But apart from that, there are a lot of other use cases where we have helped large enterprise customers in streamlining their year-long pen testing with the help of the platform, able to create engagements, especially for their crown jewels, and then for the other assets. So we have done tons of such kind of activities. Today we have over 100 customers on our platform, and not just for PTaaS, but we have other offerings as well. So they have tasted the success because of the ease of use and the ability of getting things done at fast pace. Now, I think we've come to the last phase of our webinar, that PTaaS to CTEM. Now, what is CTEM? CTEM is a continuous threat exposure management. This is coined by Gartner just under 2 years. And this talks about aggregating all the offensive security offerings into one single framework with an objective of asset discovery, vulnerability scans and pentesting, aggregation of vulnerabilities, correlation and prioritization of vulnerabilities, and effective patching and analytics. So all those things put together becomes a continuous threat exposure management. And we, as a company, Strobes, we have successfully transitioned ourselves from PTaaS to CTEM with the help of the framework defined by Gartner. So here, if you see the chart of scoping, discovery, prioritization, validation, and mobilization. So all those 5 steps we have ensured that Strobes CTEM platform today has over 80 integrations in place that includes vulnerability scanners like SaaS, DAST, container security, network security scanners, and cloud security scanners. We have integrations with the CI/CD. We have integrations with the asset discovery, asset inventory. We have integrations with the IT/ITSM platforms like Jira and ServiceNow. Our platform syncs into any IT ecosystem with less than a day of the implementation time, and customers can see the results from day 2 onwards. So though it's an enterprise-grade platform with 80 integrations, it's not that it's gonna take days or weeks. In fact, within less than 24 hours, the customers are able to see the results on our CTEM platform, and thanks to the way we have built this particular product. And now here, our objective is that we not just only provide PTaaS, but we have attack surface management, a lightweight product that kicks off within 4 hours to see all the assets that are there in the public facing and start getting some alerts around domain spoofing or SSL expiration and stuff. Then we have risk-based vulnerability management platform. As I said, it's all about triggering vulnerability scans, aggregating and prioritizing, getting the prioritized vulnerabilities based on risk, and so on and so forth. So all in all, we are here to provide our customers a thorough journey, not just from a pen testing standpoint, but from pen testing to a CTEM, helping them in reducing their risk and improving the security posture. So Mathew, as we are the final few minutes of the webinar, what's your thoughts on the CTEM? What do you think that the CTEM as a platform will be a real good go-to platform for the CISOs or the security leaders, especially keeping in mind the different modules that it covers under offensive security purview?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely value there, right? One of the things that is very challenging for security leaders is you have lots of different tools, right? You have network-based vulnerability scans, you have code analysis, right? You have attack surface management and posture management tools, you have pen testing, right? You have all these different security tools or security things there, but the problem is how do you pull all that stuff together to, again, to the point earlier, provide a holistic view of what threats and vulnerabilities really could be impactful to the organization, right? Again, speaking to that organizational resiliency. And I think a CTEM type platform and having these type of capabilities serves to bring all that stuff together in a unified manner, right? That in and of itself is really beneficial for people like me to be able to go to one platform and to be able to see what our exposure looks like, whether it's through an application that has been recently pen tested, or the underlying infrastructure that supports that particular application, or external APIs, right? Those APIs are built on infrastructure, whether it's in the cloud or on-prem. So definitely see a lot of value in bringing all these things together, kind of the convergence of all these different types of tools and services, right, to provide that kind of holistic, uniform visibility, right, to again give us data and visibility so we can make effective decisions when it comes to not just remediating, risk or dealing with things that may disrupt our business, but also from a spending perspective, from a budgeting perspective, right? It helps to inform us and the business of what money are we spending, where, and what's the return on those investments. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And we believe that, the CTEM is pretty new. It's kind of evolving now. And in the future, like probably in 1-2 years, I think the way to go is the CTEM is the best way to deal with all the offensive security things at one place. In fact, like you rightly said, be it budgeting, it will be definitely budget friendly because you have all those things at one place. And most importantly, visibility around all your security related stuff at one place, a single pane of view for the CISOs to have an overview of what's happening in their ecosystem. Yeah, you're right, Madhav. And we're also looking forward that, CTEM will be the front runner for the CISOs in the coming months. All right, I think, we are the end of our webinar, and I think we are dot on time. We have last 10 minutes to take questions. So I think before that, Aliba, I think we have one more poll to go, or what is it?
Yes, one last poll I'll be sharing with you all.
Sure
So,
thing. And then we can take the questions.
yeah.
I think there was someone who raised a hand.
Yes, I think anyone who has any questions, you can just type it at the chat box that you have, or in the Q&A section here. So we can. It would be easier for us to address those questions. Yeah, we do have one question in from an anonymous attendee. How does your PTaaS compare to automated solutions like Horizon or any other solutions as such?
Yeah, that's a good question. So basically, Horizon the 3 AI or Horizon 3, it's definitely a fully automated pen testing solution. So they just focus on pen testing activities and stuff. So there is no hybrid framework that I was talking about that actually helps in the 100% coverage of the scope and finding out the business logic vulnerabilities. So yeah, I do not want to demean the Horizon. They are good at the things that they are doing from attack path validation standpoint and other things, but we have our own edge. We have our own secret sauce or what do you call as USP in providing the real value of pen testing. So in the beginning also I was talking about 100% automation in pen testing is kind of a myth, and you just can't take those reports from a compliance standpoint. That's where this hybrid framework will actually help in getting the right results with respect to coverage, as well as getting those business logic vulnerabilities uncovered. That's what I would like to answer.
Great, Venu. Thank you. Matthew, we have one question for you here. So the attendee would like to hear from you. What tips and tricks does one have to have in store to ensure that the stakeholder and the management are happy to keep the cost low, but at the same time not compromise the security or the quality?
Yeah, I think, just speaking of our experience with the Strobes product, I think we've been able to demonstrate actually a reduction in our annual spend on our pen testing engagements, which we do a lot for our company, the size of our company. But it has driven down not just the annual cost of our pen testing, but we've seen process and internal efficiencies, right? In terms of what Venu has been talking about, having one platform. Because previous to this, we had a number of pen testing companies, and everything's been very manual, right? You converse over email, right? Or you log into a portal, but it doesn't have all of the feature functionality or richness of collaboration that Strobes has, or other companies like Strobes. So it's helped us in terms of internal efficiencies, to be able to not only schedule pen tests, but also what Venu mentioned also previously is we, as a technology company, we're constantly innovating, and we have products and things that the business comes to and says, hey, we have this idea, we've built this, we're really wanting to go to market with it. And it's not something that was even on our radar or my radar. And so being able to have that platform to be able to say, okay, we can do some initial diligence and some initial testing of that API or that particular piece of software really helps to demonstrate to the business from a broader perspective that we're here to help enable them, right, to make new products, but all the while keeping those costs down, right? So
Thanks for those kind words, Mathew. I appreciate it.
yep.
Thank you, Mathew. Thank you, Venu, for this amazing session. If anyone has any questions, you can reach out to us in our LinkedIn, or you can even add the. We will be sharing you a lot of resources that will be very helpful to you for pen testing and a lot of other things. But before we go out of this call, I would also request you guys to fill out the last form so that we understand what is the next topic that we will be covering on. So we will be having a lot of series of CISO talks, so you can share your experience, or what are your expectations, what do you want to hear about next. So do fill the question here, so it will be great.
Also,
So
Aliba, after
yeah,
uh, yeah, sorry. So in the beginning of the webinar, we discussed about sharing the the artifacts, right, about those things.
yes.
So ensure that you send across those documents with the audience.
Yes, absolutely. I'll be adding this in the chat box here itself right now. You can access those reports here, and also we'll be sharing those in our emails as well. So you can go through it in detail and download the data sheet and everything that's there.
Great.
So I have added those in the chat box here. You can check them out later on. So I'm ending the poll here right now. So as I see, you guys want to hear a lot about risk-based vulnerability management, or the RBVM. So we will be happy to cover that in our next topic or in our next webinar session.
Sure, that's good. Good to know.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much, Mathew, for joining. It was really lovely talking to you. It's a good webinar. I hope the audience enjoyed it, enjoyed our conversation. Thanks, Aliba, for coordinating or moderating this session.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. Thank you.